You have to go to the store. Yes. Dude, I was looking for someone put on the bench on water. Yes, that was me. Oh, because I was gonna do it. I wonder if she knows that's a good thing to get. I don't think she knows. Yeah. Oh, she knows, but she doesn't know the timing. Yes. Yeah. When she do it a few times with like a gallon to like throw away and see her come back. Well, the empty thermos, the big thermos is right next to it. And thank you.
Kind of sparky.
Which is a tradition, so right here.
Let's scratch it up.
I don't know. It's still, yeah, when they get put away. Sometimes they put them on the plate and it gets to be tough in a minute.
Yeah.
You know, and you gotta find it and go through it.
Like, look at the game out the dishwasher.
Can you get that now?
Yeah.
You have to make cooking and so
Or something.
yeah, something like that. Nice. No. Yeah, need that action. So.
I just heard from.
No, very little. Like, one third.
Normal to me, I guess. Hand over your shoulder.
No, I'm gonna take this part.
Yeah. Okay, did you close all the way down?
Okay. What was that first thing? What first? Was? Ja, okay. 没写到这，永远什么那都跟可惜嘛。所以就把这上呢，往心里就把清了。工作有可能有你来说的。嗯。OK，非常不。达罗当波罗七别扎，那波罗七别给他罗瓦当，他们亲前别华德就波罗七巴，他们亲接错七别。Ma nam ka tang nyam be sem chen tam ji de wa dang ne dung ar dang ji nyor du la na me ba ra yang da ba ra zo me chan ju ren bo ji to ba ra re cha ai da dang ra chi be ra no ra chi be ge da wa tang tam chin chen be par de jo ra chi ba tam ji je zo chi nam ka tan nyam be sem chen tam ji de wa dang de ma che nyo pu la na me bara yang ta bara zo be chang chu ren bo che to ba re cha.
All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment.
Te che de sam ma ji je war de nga yi son ge wa la gor al ma she war de nga yi son ge wa la gor a tu te ren ne son de ni ma san da zam je var de nga yi son ge wa la gor.
For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Until death, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. From today until this time tomorrow, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue.
Sanje chodan soje chonan la chanjo vardu dane japsun che da ki jin so jin be zanan che Andro la penche sanje drava sho sanje cho Soji chonan lai chanjo vardu dani japsun chi daki jin so jin be sonam chi andro la penche sanji drva sho.
Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings.
Ma nam ka dan nyam be sem jen dam ji Debe ju dan den bara chor je dumar dan dungar ge ju dan che bara chor je dumar me Deva dan me devara chor je nye Chagdan Yidan Chebe Dan Yon Nebara Chur Ye Ma Nam Ga Dan Yambe Semjan Tam Ji Deva Dan Deve Chur Ye Arke judan chevarar shurur je dumara mebe devadan me chevarar shurur je Chebe danyo la ne barara choje.
May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Dorji chanse wadan chuje yabadan jesu ran gushen zorwa ye 중세 다해 제자바 당치 조배 창조 제모
Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offering, confession, rejoicing, requesting, and praying, I dedicate it for the complete awakening of all beings.
dorje chanche dele naruda marva mela chuje gambo pamo jwa jawa jeumba Akaju lama nala sorvan de zelen jarbu sajun lama le chancho semje de tse melon ne rowa gunla Apen ba ba ye banden Inshallah sorwan de da jong ne jang jo ma to wa ju ju wa ren chen som je nyang nan te shou ne chang chu sem chu jong wan dang jie wo sem jie xian dong xie bo xiu jie wo gun de yang de la ma dang zhe mi Vela Longjun Satan Lamji Yun Tian Rabzon Dorjin Changpi Kumpan Yor Sho
Dorje Chan. I'm sorry, Great Vajradhara, Tilopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Dharma Lurga Popa, Pagmo Drupa, and Lord Kungpa. I pray to all the Kagyu Lamas. His brutal King Serlingpa, he received the nectar medicine of bodhicitta and brought benefit to all sentient beings. I pray to glorious Satisha. From now until I attain enlightenment, may I also practice the three precious lineages, and through this may I perfect sublime bodhicitta and bring benefit to others with my bodhicitta. In all my lives, may I never be separated from the perfect Guru. May I enjoy the glory of the Dharma, perfect the qualities of the bhumis and paths, and quickly attain the state of Vajradhara.
Ye bu ju ju yen me to zhang re la. Nian de jian ban de san jie xian la mei de pu wa ye an zhuo ge nam da xian ge jiu wa xiu gu suan yong zuo lan mei cuo nan la qian nan san suan di yin ye jian qiu da lu long qiu nan xie yong xie la lan ye qiu ge mo zhuan zhe de so guru deva da ge da hava den za so
The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the four continents, the sun, and the moon. I visualize and offer these as Buddha fields. May all sentient beings be born in the Pure Lands. I offer to gurus of three kayas complete, outer, inner, secret, and suchness offerings. Taking my body, wealth, and all that there may be, I pray, please grant the unsurpassed Supreme City. Om Guru Dewa Dakini Ratna Mandala Pratita Soha.
Sam Tian Nam Jie Samba Tang Jie Zhan Jie Da Wa Jie Chung Te Wa Nian Ko Lo Por Su Zo
Please turn the wheel of Dharma of the greater, lesser, and common vehicles according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Tam ge tu ge jiao zhe de shun zhong xin jian me to du jie bong jiong wei se jian tong po da wo zhe wei gue xiao xie jie wei xiao la jiang zi lo du jian xiang wang de lo na ro tang man me ta hu pa zhen ji tian gong ge zhi sum dian zai wei la me xia zi ju na ma ye dum qiu xiong su ruan de su dao ju jin jie lo o de ne da nga zo bie jia de yo de wei yo ma bie jia de me jiong di si ya shang嗯 tene 당연히 ngazo tatanere maze lodu ten namon gor rena sen ta namo sen lam chance bala kogerwa gor sen nama chi rena sen nama ran bochi da chance yen no khona driksho sare tene da chi da wen ta len des da kwa de chebe ke da wan ta len sungji sungwa dan zi ba tam chi zhu ba la bi xi ne lo dian ba de dong zi ji tian som jing gong bong du se wa da te chou ba de zhu ba chi
So in with so the church text, so it begins with Namo Guru Ratnam. So Namo means to prostrate. The Guru is the Guru, the teacher, and Ratna is the precious teacher, the precious Guru, prostrate. And so then the text begins, so there's a commentary, and so that first begins with a verse of paying homage. And so the homage then says, so to the one who reveals the natural state as it is beyond the extremes of eternalism and nihilism, and where all conceptual elaborations are completely pacified. To that one, I bow in offering I bow to in offering to Lord Jigten Sumgön again and again.
다 공티 삽추 추지 풍보레 공티 남자 추지 풍보레스 도제류지 소소 동메 승용 통제 지부 세미베 식동메바 고동 중진제 조스와 다데 좀버 탑자바지.
And then there's the next verse is a commitment to complete the composition of this text. And so that verse says, I will briefly explain the essential points of these profound teachings, which is the method for accumulating merit through the Vajra body. I will explain this using few words that contain vast meaning and will bring forth inexhaustible results.
드네 다 nenjorba 구살의 속사더니 년생 투신 냠나 지나 되게 상 투좀 냠나 지나 되게 상 투제 와 텐주 냠스네 베게 구살의 속사 세와든 지단 종공 삽출 총대에서
And this text is called the Gosali Feast Accumulation and Practice, the Gosali Chod, and it comes from the profound Dharma of Lord Jigten Sumgön. And it is said that it is to be practiced by yogis in 4 sessions, or 3 sessions, or 1 session.
드네 다 주스리아디 통다 말레 페테송도와 년사의 총전바 치주 3년사의 초선 년사 현재 투루다 저번 단단만다 마모도야제 여러 취미 제사세 투루 제사세는 만점도 3년 보사 3년 보사는 제다는 제데 마모유사 3년 저셔서로 대치 주레스 풍보세한테 저와 나시우 풍보세한테는 다제 루트 마당지시라 메레데다 나시주치 당지 세안제는 잠바라 바로 거기다 진탕시 양태 당지 총 당마데 나주치 녀체진의 조바 통주스 녀체진 조바세 데 다다다 샘플 내로티키나 냠내간 데 뭐시 내티키 냠내간 제제 냠내치야데 통주스레스 주스 som데베 내조라스 주스 som주에 냠마다 요 참다서 순냐 냠마다 요에스 냠마선 도마고도 말아베간
And then Milarepa explained the meaning of Chod, and he said that going to frightening mountain retreats is the outer Chod. So that refers to going to terrifying places like charnel grounds and so on, just places that trigger one's fear. That is the outer Chod. And then he said, offering the body as food is the inner Chod. And so the point here is that offering the body as food mainly means to be free of self-grasping toward the body. And then he said, cutting through the single essence is the ultimate Chod. And so what it means to cut through the single essence is that it means to recognize the natural state of the mind and then remain within that state, practicing within that state single-pointedly. And then Milarepa concludes, are there any students who can practice these 3 kinds of Chod?
드네 통용 기준으로 통용세는 마치 그러와 마치 그티 커슈세는 마치라 랑초로 주체 주체다 라스 녀도 주세하는 주신바리 사사스 통단종 커르요레스 자슈요서와
And so Tunyin asked a question to Magic Lapton, and so Tunyin was Magic Lapton's son. And so her son Tunyin asked her a question. He said, so mother, how is this Dharma tradition of Chod so more profound and superior to other Dharma traditions?
我真的没去看中的是那和牛是他前两年啊，是真的，但我也去去了，小在前不久去完的是去了先他吧，先了先把了先了先把他是先把你自己拉下来，现在啥病历史，真的啥病那个的是。真的，他推蒙满意吧，切就点球现场嘛的，但推蒙满意切就忙不有的是点球现场这个嘛的是蛮大把是，但没俺单把是，但没俺他们一点晓得单把是也是，这球他们几年可能的是，特别他们几个养生的不是，东亚他们几做这的是伢们这晓得你不知道，他确实就是是的是。他都有一些什么，都有一些他这当俺说都有一些有了他接着用给他这那么过去，都有一些让啥出不了去别去年，这同样怕头你莫头啊，把真他帮呀他，确实吧，这当时这点那个说，上嘛这有的话他就是在当时就要做那的话，天就当时去别强的行动，想的行动把就要打得着。den kurbe yungo do ya ke tan kurba te zai ta ma da jan ti de so ma khong do to ya te ma khong dong res te ke le dong ta ji se ka ye yo wa ta zun jom to ya to to wa res wa te ne re shi ya zai ki jom me as ta nyam ne te lu ti jin ba pa dan sa na so so ju ne ze yong na to so pan jom to sha sa wan di so ma ta dang zi yo ma ran dang zi min ne yong do ya yo ma ba 只有起码嘛叫吧，世界六上界呗，但把是，但只有起码图个是，像个嘛的世界六界也上界了呀，听着去当嘛确实去吧，这里是现在去了当现当门这呗，他们就去吧，那叫嘛那个祈求意思，那叫嘛那个祈求，他是正常的，也是嘛这种多那样的。
So then Majilabdun replied, said, "Listen, my son, this Mahamudra tradition of mine is especially supreme and more profound than other traditions. Its essential points are and like his instructions are unlike others. It is truly an uncommon, special teaching, unlike other treatises, and it is the essence of all Dharma. It is the peak, the summit of all vehicles. It is the heart essence that unifies the sutras and the tantras into one. It is the Dharma that liberates the four maras in their own place. And so we will speak of those four maras a bit later. It is the supreme method for forcefully abandoning the five poisons. It is the axe that cuts the tree of self-grasping at its root. And is the so that is that means that so the main point of Chod is to cut through self-grasping, and it is mainly it's self-identification with the body, and she said it is the powerful force that destroys the 80,000 types of obstacles. It is the supreme medicine that heals the 404 kinds of diseases. And so also that is because there is no more grasping through the body. If we only cut through the self-grasping of the body through Chod. And so when there is no self-grasping, then there's also no basis for any physical illness. And then she continues, and this teaching of Chod is will bring you to Buddhahood in one life, in one body, without deferring the result to future life. And this sacred Dharma of Chod is unlike other Dharma traditions. It's the yogini special Dharma.
真的，他过啥来是吧？他过啥来是呀？就当过啥来是呀？才可以说啥的往上出。他错上呀，我不其他没得错上呀，我不其他没得绿怕金巴当样这过啥来是？他前这是抽多吧？就是做过，他从出啥的？过啥来是呀？就马去那种这种了，过啥来也错啥节也从他没意思。他过啥来错上呀？ 속사 자 속사 자 사그리 사 돈타지 코면 도시라 자 사그리 사 남르켜서 뭐 들을 정도와
And then, so next, sorry, this is called the Gusali Chod practice. And so first, the meaning of Gusali. So the term Gusali literally refers to like a beggar, a poor person who has no mundane possessions, someone who has cast away all kind of worldly life. And Raji Lapton said that the Gusali offering, a feast offering, is superior to other feast offerings 100 times.
근데 단 지견송 대송으로서 다 추제 냠스 나만 군대 추 탐지 고토지바 제 총나 듣고살 차바이 스타 추제 냠랑도 되네로 탐지 도데 다랑 제바는 제바 탐지 네로 소도네 대랑 제바는 제바 탐지 바 도르송 와텔라 되네 고살다 소사 고살라 세야테 이 정도 지견송 대송으로서
And then Lord Jiten Sumgyan explained the meaning, and he said that a Gosali practitioner is one who realizes all phenomena of samsara and nirvana through the practice of this single dharma. And so the Gosali practitioner is one who has no self grasping, and who has completely cast away all clinging to a self. And so that is what we refer to as someone who practices Gusali practitioner.
真的太阳绿色经济技呢，确进去吧了，我不想确进他吧的是的，绿色的这等下做的绿的，他结伴自己都有了，他这样做，绿结伴自己呢，他说全都是的，那他结伴自己都有，他把经济当呢，上嘛把金把当的呢，但我不想他个的是。
And so cutting through attachment to one's own body and life, and offering the body as a gift surpasses any material offering. It's because we cherish the body above everything else, and therefore giving it up, offering the body, is greater than any other act of offering.
真的他挺活动的，现在节假的都有些有了，他都有些的，经常小上门的是有的，他多桥都有些去呢，多桥都有些，他多路都有些有了，他同步在彭博都有是彭博都有，七万这边彭博都有呢，咱在彭博都有的，他彭博等下上经济学也有人讲做，经济学彭博的，他那啥东亚什么彭博的等下全有的，大陆什么彭博的等下全有，他这样做，对他等下经济学呢他。 这这块的，我们在上着说的，我听你可别东啊，他们讲呢，那种子，现种的，是昨天的吧，多点种子那这个是我碰过那一把是，但那碰过都是我，他碰过都是啊，这是，但那咱看起吧去吧，牛毛都，但牛毛都是那，但那桥当毛上毛不在就有了，但牛毛就吃东西了，老说对那，但牛毛头啊，那说吧有了，我听的，我听那的啊。 有了，他说轮在南坡，但咱们这呀，上坡、年坡来说吧，真是给了我的，但是年坡是说你没得那种强着说是吧？我这样呢，就给他在通过的，人家说你在我们长完这些，东岸台湾这些，他打没吧打这，没打吧打完这些，我这种这呢，我这从嘛听上对头的，是的牛毛滚了嘛，我这现在真的给没给去来说着呀的。 我真的这啥，这点呢，这这些我们用的是用么的意思，大多。
And the next is a summary of the meaning of Chod. And so it begins with an explanation of the four maras. And the maras are explained differently in different traditions. And it begins with an explanation according to the Sutra tradition. So according to the Sutra tradition, the first mara is the mara of the aggregates. And the Mara of the aggregates refers to our body, and it specifically the attachment to the body. it is because of the body that we experience a lot of sickness, pain, and all kinds of happiness and suffering. So a lot of our sensations really is experienced on the basis of our body. And then it is also with the body that we commit many negative actions. So it is the body, or also the five aggregates, which are the containers of the support for all the sufferings of samsara. And so because it is the basis of suffering, it is called a demon, the demon of the aggregates. And then second is the Mara of the afflictions. And the Mara of the afflictions, elaborately, we speak about 84,000 afflictions, which all arise from improper mental engagement. In brief, they are summarized into the 5 poisons. And it is the misconception, so the improper mental engagement here is the grasping at the impure as pure, at suffering as happiness, at the non-self as a self, and at the impermanent as permanent. So these afflictive emotions, these kind of misconceptions, they drive us to various actions, virtuous and non-virtuous actions. And these actions then bind us to the cycle of birth and death.
但呢，但七大队噻，但七八张跟我，但七大队最开始是那，但是好像做你们俩吃的一些呢，在你们俩起码多，吃也可蛮当的嘞。好像个可惜在，但头上工作要不去，我吃也蛮当多，挺多啊。在你们俩他起码多吧，对对。结巴用呢七八用，但结巴用七八用啥的，这都求你们的，我真的没他吧，是这给这了，这位没他吧，但叫人多学的，然后但东啊，前几天这是我这都七大队是。我当七万没被他会留下的，七万没被他现在恐怕上届恐怕特别了，反而是去年的，那边他原因多多我说，但是求啥讲没来这边求上讲那就没在谁我听着么，他原因多个，我这原因说那边他会留下，他把他们其他，那把他们反而去年。我这些把人家嘛的手的这如果节生长，真的我那说，他是这样的，他确实你们那学校推出有嘛的学长。说吃了别有的，经常啊，他话都，人家那是说在第一小时，那我这第一小时里口推出可能当多呀，差不多。我听的，这但那边他会对，他说他们进去，那么钱花，我这些把有钱涨着的是，我这能做的，我这个你们那学校花就个的是情况，他会对，我这是中国的是。
Then number 3 is the Mara of the Lord of Death. And that is also what can interrupt our practice. We are unable to fully practice because we may not live long enough. We may want to hear and reflect and meditate, but then death strikes. And that is because we are born. Birth itself ensures that we will die. And that's on a coarse level, on a subtle level. Every moment we are actually approaching death. There's this natural impermanence, meaning that in every instant there is a change, and this impermanence, this approach to death, is by definition a state of suffering, and that is why it is called a demon or a Mara, the Mara of the Lord of Death. And then number 4 is the Mara of the Son of the Gods. And so that mainly refers to distraction, wasting our life, wasting all of our time doing meaningless things, delaying, procrastinating. Milarepa had said that by like putting things off, our life becomes exhausted. And so that is distraction is also what really obstructs our path of practice. And nowadays, especially today, we can see how this becomes more and more of an issue. nowadays we have the internet, and we just spend all of our time playing with our phones, scrolling on the internet, and then all of our time is gone. We have wasted all of our time. And during this whole time, we are just constantly chasing after outer things. And this is distraction prevents liberation. It prevents our practice. And so then due to this, because it constitutes an obstacle to our practice, it is referred to as a Mara, the Mara of the son of the gods.
真的今天中午提供这哪有啊？都这种可是你们那就那就拿说是你们那没听嘛，这那就拿说的，说的你们那钱呢，他都有些我是把就或者是都有些就把它就是的。
Jidun Sumgan, he said that the the in the Gongchik, he said in the Gongchik that in the best practice is the wondrous is especially in a feast of the yogis, and that cuts through the four maras.
真的，大家当采用嘛，他同人嘛，同几把上万多句，他们他今天中国啥做啥子中国的，我国啥做啥子采用的，是同都查不起，我这些钱我的，这多句他们去谈谈推的嘞，我在前下去吧，我在没把这这趟钱实际这种做没有的，啥的麻烦啥的，这我着我也做没有的是。
And these teachings, so that is Jidun Sumgan's Gosali Chod is concise in words and yet vast and complete in meaning, and it aligns with the sutras and the tantras and possesses great blessings. And so then this practice has three main sections: the preliminaries, the main practice, and the conclusion.
我真的他长波在那，他应该说广东人不多，在广东体系一般的，现在广东的，可惜给他没人嘛，这是广东起来的，广东起来没广东起来，等于他没嘛这双头的那个这也是。
So first, as a kind of in a preliminary, there's an explanation of the thigh bone trumpet, and so it is like given like three different. This thigh bone trumpet is giving three different names. It is referred to as the thigh bone kind of flute, the thigh bone trumpet, and then the human thigh bone trumpet.
但是没讲把这些，这在没看抽他唱的，这牛排生前先把牛排切了啥，他等那么看那个什么呀，天啥的，他做我在讲说啥的，这些你呢，他刚写吧，他刚写这的话，他刚写开始是那么一旦看着学穷那么台巴的，一切就完没吧，我他刚出吧了，刚是，我同学吧的，光桥上的没会。他东的说完的呀，他我会东口差不多那个样了，我们会东口差不多有把这了，听着大家呢这个是东西，然后呢刚是吧，等着肉身边他们去了，前面年讲究先去，刚出吧，这刚东西吧，看不上去吧，他不嘛他年节在东岸有把这了，年节身边他们年节东岸有把东，我听着，我去拿这个的也是。
Then so so it is referred to as a human thigh bone trumpet. First of all, human. The reason for human is because the human body possesses the like six constituents or six elements, and it is said that like a being possessing those six elements has the greatest power. And so now the Tibetan term, so it's gang, and which is kind of like the leg or the thigh bone, and then there's dung, which is something that you like a horn or like a trumpet. So that's the Tibetan word gangdung for that the thigh bone trumpet. And so the gang, the first syllable, the word is explained. So the term gang, which means like the leg, the thigh bone, the gang, it signifies an unwavering faith and confidence in the Guru, Yidam, the deities, the Dakinis, and the Dharma protectors. So with the leg because one is standing firm in devotion, so the gang. And then the dung, so dung has different, literally different meanings. It's here the sound of the trumpet. And dung also sometimes the way that this same word is translated is something that is like heartfelt, like something that comes from deep within, like from your core. And so the dung from Gangdong represents a deep, this deep sound of the horn is a sign of the yearning and devotion toward the three jewels. That's one explanation, and an alternative explanation, gang, so the leg, it expresses as standing in firm loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta for all beings of the six realms. And then dung is the compassionate, like calling, the yearning, the calling out to all mother sentient beings wandering helplessly in the three realms of samsara.
근데 다들 정도 강동 중공의 롤 중요. 다들 롤의 송지리 체대. 텔레 로는 다 독성 기자와 조der. 텔레 소지 근데 독성 기자와 지선은. 대토고에 에스타 로바 고르고는 뭐 저 담보 로바 통로. 어때 가르원다 통로 살바테. 다 가주 된 바타라비다스. 라인도. 근데 야 세모트 제게라. 세모트 제야 최종 정도 주바 다스. 매자와 담무긴 정도 제 여러 요래. 담무서 손지看起来봉야레스. 从小的在要木泥多木泥有的泥爬切的昆德尼但昆德尼切的了昆德尼那种日本往昆德尼切是吧我这里昆德尼切的从小这拉错吧他这拉错头就没他就的我们特别的是没他就的我们特别的是我这确实会他确实年现在年啥的确就找的同大从这来是真的这说不吧这设定 maybe some that par kato example ya some setting that to tong le wa o de ni setting ne be sim jian la de ning jie za ba ji be tong da ko shu de is de ne nga zo hu ju zhe so ne mo qi da xian de wa de sa wa ne be sim jian na ta bei lang de ya ko shu de is da hu de zo ne ge ma gang dong ki se ki de wa 我这前面就这嘛，说就是说，所他通常蛮所是呢，但我们个角度要来漂亮，通常是这个写下来。 没人脑把机呀，我脑把机呀，我脑把机呀，蛮行吧？真的没啥东西老公，我这就是强度呀，没啥东西老公的。我这呢，光桥出门中了，出版不会这些，这光桥双堂牙看中你有了，马的看中你有了东西，拉不着他那种东西不出来，但是大当起的嘛，脱口是那同大起那啥。 出版部现在的地址在咱出版部现在，然后出版部马上做的，古代做什么？这可能那么的做完的，大东西都会说啥的。
So then the corpse, that dead body that is being offered, that represents it symbolizes the freedom from dualistic grasping. It represents the turning away from samsaric existence of worldly activity, and it is a sign of cutting through the three poisons. So then now it explains the different parts of the trumpet. So first of all, it comes from this corpse, and second, it has this kind of round, it is rounded bone formation, and so that symbolizes that the Kagyu teachings will remain firm. And then the the tip of the right side of that trumpet is cut, and that is a sign of severing doubts and misconceptions. Then there's a hollow base. At the hollow base, there's the cavity of the marrow cavity, and that points to the abandonment of worldly activities. Then the two shank holes, there's two holes in the thigh bone, right? And these are a sign of the division between samsara and nirvana. And so now that is, as long as there is dualistic grasping, it seems that samsara and nirvana are split in two. So there's a division. And then holding it in both hands. So you're holding the trumpet in both hands is a sign of meditating continuously on impermanence. And then it is blown. It is blown in the four directions, in all directions, proclaiming, pervading, all of the frightening places. And when it is blown straight ahead, it awakens the compassion in sentient beings on the surface of the earth. And when it is blown sideways, it guides sentient beings below the earth on the path to liberation. And then it is said that we should not separate from continuously hold it without separation. So this is actually also a Tibetan tradition where this is really emphasized. We are just always bringing it with us. And then it should not just serve as like a mere decoration or status symptom or cause any harm or disruption to others while you're carrying this trumpet with you. And also you carrying it with you because it serves as a continuous teacher of impermanence. And it also becomes an offering to the three jewels and the other levels of guests, so which we will discuss later. So there are four types of guests. There's essentially the higher guests and then the lower guests toward whom this offering is made. So.
전에 다들이 있던 가서 강동 버린 가다. 다들 뒤나 배차 뒤나 제 도랑이 초크용 침모지 있어야 돼. 용 침모지 있어야 해제 차시 제물이. 我在记呢，现在当然做广东当去了哇。我广东当对他马去给那种在中多啊，这汤包东没可以可准的当时的当时他接是那么多，接他们去用这是那种啊，我在他们去用这这那这他把可为，可呀，他看上身边他们去了啊上这上部那可送上。 我在可送对他身边的他们去的，他在离开的没看过，你看他们把人坐下呢，这年送上，他们这天呢，说的永远去在做完的，这老的实际送上，他就上到他们推的。
Så det bygger några folk kawa to get the chokokola.
小可多，够看，够就。
Ukonala. Oh, okay. It's on page 9.
没得没去噻。今他怎样说说的当没些。杨金那没有。阿来在这边家的，我做的。
So the drop top
nala. 来说了。我把的是。
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So, okay. So on page, we have the same text on page 5. In the sadhana, is it? But also different. 1 second.
就看看啥的啊。
看看啥的，但我宿舍的这谈不的看的。
让你给这个用这么热的东西，现在切入很多。
Okay, yeah. Okay, I think mine is on page. Okay, yes. 1 second. So it begins. So I don't know if you have the same text, but in the beginning it starts with so Rangi Chiki Yum Chemo in Tibetan, and then the self is instantly transformed into Prajna Paramita, and so forth. The body, with golden color, and so on. So so here it begins so that the Dharmakaya Prashna Paramita. So so this is where the practice begins, and where also at where the trumpet is played for the first time. And so when playing the thigh bone trumpet, Marty Lapdren explained that when sounding the trumpet for the first time, so you should visualize in the following way. So at the first blow of the trumpet, which comes a little bit later, where we say on next page, on page 3, we say Gye, so Gye, all sentient beings and so on. So when we say Gye, which is like, which means all of you beings, listen up. So you're sounding the trumpet, and you get like drawing the attention of all beings. So the sound sort of awakens sentient beings, and so they all are doing their things in the 3 realms of samsara. They're busy and doing their individual activities, whatever they're doing, and so this sound interrupts whatever they are doing, and they now pay attention. So they all now listen with a focused intention.
这送人，
第唐不对了，你把什
就
么
是
什么？
你把就拉面，你
呀
把
啊，
你把这个是，这他们今天都下来过了，他刚刚说，哦，他们今天的这条的，他们今3个星期了，中国他来送上，他送把的回的他们今我他们今的人都送是别强的钱，先前不怎么长满都的了，那些那些让一般当时去咋子了，长满都送什么的都呢，提前去吧。 그게 앞에 집에 가면 단 뒤송 삼때네 라지 바트 발표요 삼때를 당해서 나가는 거 봐.
And then the second blow of the trumpet, that means you now gathering them to come here. So first you told them, hey, listen, and now you're saying, hey, everyone, come here. So now they are all being summoned. So from every direction, whatever they're doing was interrupted, and now they're quickly gathering. They're quickly gathering here, and they are gathering just from their respective places. And then with the third blow of the trumpet, you think that now all these beings are actually here. Now they have gathered together, just like a mass of beings gathering under a big tree. So just beneath a big tree. So now you think that they all have quickly gathered before you.
我真的当时做这些事情，同来做在工作，同来说，我那现在同把关是吧？俺妈那同把关，但同的这些错个了，俺妈本着我那同把关，同是这有了什么钱的？本着是。
别忙着了。
我全忙着我提去，
嗯。
这朋友他同来是没头多，我同来这没来这边开始中毒是呢，同来这他同来脱裤拿货这是他同来脱裤拿本上我呢，脱裤拿货这我没读过过吧，就没去跟从没打死的，我没读过过，就我没别他去跟从样打死，这不是说龙就个了，规划的，这里做 control 啊，这里跑做 control 送来。大话他会当票了，这强在点没打生，但看讲究现在点不用没打，我听从票的也是。
你弄过有吗？对吧？
안다 롱크 좀 만들었어.
어, 그래서
아, 좀 들어.
음.
느려.
So this little hat that Rinpoche shows here, yeah, this is called a bear skin visor. So it's made out of bear skin. It's a visor. So you're supposed to wear that during the Chod practice. And Milarepa actually explained what it means. And so the black kind of visor, I don't know what's hanging down, the black part that represents the unchanging Dharmakaya dwelling in the pure land of Akanishta. And then there's strings of hair. I see it coming down. So these strings of these hair strings are a sign of the Nirmanakaya manifesting from within the Dharmakaya. And then it has this circular rim here, and that is a sign that being firmly and sealed with the mudra. So that means firmly sealed with it represents bodhicitta. So being firmly seated in bodhicitta.
저는 저한테 다포 조랭 세제 요령에 막 다포 조랭 볼랍시사. 디조랭 어디는 도무라 동나 살아 따베 신지 농바다서 도무라 동나한테 다다바 냠내 telden 시한 탐지 신지 농 송쇼레 세와 전도 송도와
Dakpo churing se sacha ge mingre.
다포 조랭 세주 요령 본다. 달라 건볼 청와 살아니 경사대 저 어떻게
Ina sacha ge mingre churing.
조랭 보러와
아니 churingbo.
주 말해
아니 churingbo. Dakpo ringbo chege chure.
다보는 뭐지
Dakpo ge sachare. Dakpo
되게
sachage.
어제 다보는 뭐지 다 되게 마대나 지 말하다
And the chuging mingji 是吧？
제 다보 전에
Mm.
전에도 알람도
Well, there is another extensive church practice called Dakpo Churing, or the kind of the extensive church of Dakpo, and there it also explains the meaning of the visor, the bearskin visor, and it says that it represents this, so that through the practice of the view, through remaining in the view, by wearing this, it is a sign of practicing in the view, and that with that one has the ability to outshine everything else.
근데 난 다루기 예바세 난 말아래 그 다루기 예바제 도 생각도 말로想的봐 어떻게 하르선 다루게 바냐 봐 어떻게 봐 냐나 알아 다르세 깨바 냐나 알아 어떻게 봐 냐나 안데 다루게 바냐 봐 됐어 깨바는 냐나 알아 도 냐나 알아 원다루게 바냐 봐 됐어 네스 콘데니 제 손삼네 태송 코르사 요베 다스다 콘데니 손삼네 태송 코르사 망보 요라다 말아서 되게 그래 코르사 요 냠나서 망보 요 어디 송자스 로니 바파 로니 카투 카투 조바세 와다 카티 요라 티니 콘데 페데 용하다 단 콘데 좀 페데 망보 요 냠나 페데 망보 요 와다 콘데 페데 용하다 레스 로니 바파 포라스 어때 로니 보다 바파 자효라데 장동해동 송베다스 다나동반도 베서 장동 추크 조베다스 고능 좀 베주바스 좀 베요라세 데 롱크 젠제 제바도 데니 데니 로라 구바데 데니 센네로 데니 보서 동거와세 텐데 텔레트로 컨트롤반도 롱크 트로 컨트롤 송 어 드론의 춤자 총한테 스타 춤자 자차가 바원 컨트롤 원디다스 어 다른 동상에서 바원 컨트롤 원트라가 된다 망보스
And next is the explanation of the Dhammaru drum, also this truth drum. And Milarepa actually explained the meaning of the drum. And he said that so the first theme of the narrow kind of part of the indentation, the narrow part of the drum inside is a sign that at the junction at the crossroads of samsara and nirvana, at the juncture of samsara and nirvana, we find many doubts that can lead one astray. So we know that there are so many ways of going kind of off track and developing all kinds of doubts. So that's a sign. This kind of narrow part, this is of the drum, is a sign of that. Then the broad kind of flared upper edges, so it's this kind of narrow on the kind of an inside, and then the on the outside of that is flared and a bit broader, and that is a sign of the rise and fall within samsara and nirvana. So it's all these ups and downs that we experience on our way, we practice. And then there are two sides that are of the drum that are covered in skin. So the part that we play the drum on, and that represents, these two sides represent the relative and the ultimate truth, or the provisional and the definitive truth, literally. And so then there is an empty space within the Dhamma room, and that is a sign of accomplishing the Dharmakaya for one's own benefit. And then there are these like silk tassels, the ornaments, ornamenting, adorning the drum. And that is a sign of the Sambhogakaya, the adornment of the Sambhogakaya. And then there are the two beaters, so the two like, strings with which you beat each, you're striking each side. And those two beaters striking either side, they represent the arising, the manifestation of the Nirmana Kaya. And then the sound, so that the sound produced, that the sound that comes from playing a drum is a sign of summoning the Dakas and the Dakinis.
我真的大体龙盘塔的龙山的话，我是拉片子去哇，我这龙塔拉片子呀，这也做点吧，这边大的是呐，我真的特兰偏过大吧，偏过身体拉票是让的偏拉不让偏，我真偏过大吧，这是年大发展有啊，但是等偏过的说中到说什么有吧的，他们上课吧马恰的，他们说话马恰的，我他为了没穷些吧，没穷些的，他没可能没我的娘，直接没弄的了的。melon chung的son dohyo sarwate ta melon chung se wo sen da de wo se ngang la ne ba da ta yen yong zhom chom do yen yong zhom chom go ban des zhom ne ro zhom chom wo de ne ta pi song chom der ba da fa song ting wa jian ba ta ka xie fa song ting wa de dohyo sa na so ta zhen zhan me de dong duo jian cha wo de jian ba de me ji chen ba zo we da me te chu ru ta me te chu ru de wo zhen ge ra me de jun zuo ni gang de so wo ta so ju jian ba de ce pe sang wong te ba da tan chang che ju 因为这参江山当的路的可以说是你在流浪的说，我在参江进去有把这是一些而言，那么从外但是这一年差了，千万的可能这东西，这一年差生，他可以写出也总差用是的这那个多你多，但是说这种对的，可能这东西吧，但是天马行的，拉松他们的，但是这是烂就是了吧，这类小队的呢，拉松他们的，但是这边一个，这边现在农历的穷在那开始多的说的。 真多就呀，这年大出去了，做不但是，今年结束的，但今年这个可能都干成什么嘛？开心个点，这开心在这是啦，所以我等苹果的结束大学的那个，苹果的结束他们在，我结束大把的，特别是三这把的，同课完都看吃这吧，是他们那这个这种多。
Actually, cover dagiri.
结束偏的是苹果离局那些大学生的。
Oh, okay.
离局。
And then, so then there is the three-sided banner. So there's this kind of banner on the drum that has like three sides to it, and that is a sign of the non-attachment to the three realms of samsara. So kind of in this three-sided triangular shaped banner. And then there is a mirror at the center, and that signifies, so these are always a kind of detailed smaller ornaments that you find on such a drum. So there's a mirror in the center, a small mirror, that is a sign of dwelling in a state of luminosity. Then the yeyan karedok.
그래.
예연 데 답시 송조 데 가래.
난 좀비先多좀비刚的了，좀应用좀 좀비
아.
너랑 좀多，
哦，
或者应用你有的좀비
yeah.
너랑多一点。
So you can see the Drupan is pointing. So inside there is on both sides, on either side there is some knots, I guess made out of threads. And so these represent these knots being on either side are a sign of the union of method and wisdom. And then the drum is also adorned with various substances like materials. For example, some are using like ivory, beads, or also pearl or coral ornaments. So people use different kinds of ornaments people put on the drum. And so it says here that the ivory ornament, for instance, is a sign of refreshing, or fresh, unforgetting mindfulness. And then like pearl and coral ornaments are a sign of planting the seeds of the major and the minor marks. And then there's the fluttering silken ribbon. So this is the long part. That's this the silken ribbon part that's flowing down, and that is a sign of the 5 wisdoms. And then some also attach some braided hair, a braided hair strand. So the hair itself, the hair ornament represents, is a sign of benefiting beings throughout samsara. And then these braids are, so that this hair is braided, so it's a braided hair, and that is a sign of firmly maintaining the 3 higher trainings. And then as also is an attachment of small bells. Some also attach a few small bells, and they are a sign of proclaiming fame and renown of the Dharma throughout all the 10 directions. And then there's also a little hook, and that little hook is kind of in the middle part of that silken ribbon that's hanging down. So that little hook that kind of binds that silken banner together, and kind of in its middle. And that hook that is affixed on that banner symbolizes a sign of holding the lifeline of liberation.
근데 자 들에 자주 우티나데 잠로 심시 제도한테 쇼랑 같이나 당간는 만도테 마저 남카냐베 생찬나 대대한 동아 제신 상제지 콤팡 특히 콤팡난 남이베 특제체 소소 류지 진베 내저 종 세제도 다세 주티나도
So then the practice in the sadhana begins. I'm not sure if you have the same text, but for me, it's right in the beginning. It says preparation, cultivating bodhicitta. So it starts with, for the benefit of all matter beings in the limitless universe, to liberate them from their suffering and to lead them to the supreme enlightenment state of Buddhahood. I'm determined to exert myself in the yoga of developing merit by offering my own body.
真的，大家就是呢，大家当前呢，财迷现在我逻辑个说，财迷现在呢，钱把财迷，人间财迷，高瓦财迷，当年财迷那个说，因为他在做多对呢，他阳台财迷一些逻辑呢，他流行把东上做，他们家的去甚至去个说啥的吧，我他去呀，他在做多对呢，强人家的，做对的说啥财迷些的，我他强人家的，他弄做对呢，人家难对的说啥财迷些的，我他人对我财迷些的，他常不我说话去。
And so that is the 4 immeasurables. We first need to develop the 4 immeasurables: immeasurable love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And then with that, we take a firm commitment of offering our body. To summarize those 4 immeasurables, the 4 immeasurables are included within love and compassion. And to summarize that, it all comes out of great compassion.
真的马些那种这种多，马些那种还是种是呢，强把的人家强求sem什么的，我去了索性意思的，我去了索性这种意思。然后真的马些那种特别马，然后这种多，都不见，但都不见这都错不错我了，现当中国成这个吧，我中国多不起吧，这种那现在强把的人家强求sem什么碰见这种把当呢，但中国多不起吧，从过。 但是让给刘老，但俺说就这的，但所有的刘金把当这个让俺拿错，我听刘刘说，龙就看见往当长嘛，把当呢，但刘金把当从先把都当出来的，但刘金把当搞来好好的话，先把都当出来的，但刘往当接把，但全部扩当接把当呢，我的工作参把些，我的呢工作做强调先，他们呢就上街突击，跟他们就头把接把的，他张某也去了意思，张某现在他在俺做后去在。 看着俺家嘛，穷当呀，六叔的张某生在年们些把没给起来，那票里面啊就没叫去，帮光着，他那票嘛的张某生年们些打没把他，说嘛，看老的在俺家没把嘛，没啥人这样看到那票里。
And then so regarding these 4 immeasurables, Magic Labdrön explained that she said, loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. These three are the life tree of my Dharma tradition. In this practice, we send forth the messengers of love and compassion, of immeasurable love and compassion, to even the most powerful and malevolent spirits, beings. And we draw them close, and then we offer them freely our body and our life, our possessions, and every bit of power that we hold. And so now the main offering here is the offering of the body, because if we are able to give away our body, then all other offerings come easily. But of course, it's quite difficult to really freely give away one's body. And so, anyways, then she continues. So I'm offering all of this. I'm drawing them here. We're drawing them here, and we're offering to them our body and so forth. And then by satisfying them through our great compassion and generosity, then we lead them to enter the path of enlightenment. So this is the essence of my Dharma tradition as like it says literally a beggar yogini, but Rupan also clarified that it's not a beggar in the sense of the beggar that we associate like kind of what we think a beggar is. So it's not just about just being poor, just not having anything, but what it really, even though that's the word, but what it really means is it means humility, really having no pride, not needing anything, being very humble.
真的，今天中午他总是别拿是节日来说的，节日来说有了，他节日来说这种，他是多不清不清楚有了。我没他们满意吧，就是其他了，但其他这种他说怕是就拿是工作了，前半年的生命，这呢他呢强求生才工作其他结果的是强求生工作其他其他工作让一起说说强求生要不这点的工作让一起那些是先做的是，那些什么先做的是。 提我的这偏的，这两年我现在工作做偏的做个的是，偏的做那他让你们去啊，做去个的是，我真的就想让强着个的是，也的，就是做去呢。我妈做这个样呢，他写当前的这种咱们的都边种的俺家呀，长啊，去甚至去呢，工作了这这三兄弟是那个的。 工作了，写当没办法呢，他你把钱都给嘛，穷的都干嘛的是？我听另外说，他前面的他写起过的也种多，你嘛个那比我，我做朋友你嘛，那当然我嘛的的，不忙着这，这是没点着多下子，广大这些东，俺这送的，这有的给他俺换着这多空。 别叫不新不那个说，这那么了，讲究商业的讲究这，我讲这打票都有的风貌，大众也给的人家晓得的，我这俺这就你，啊，在这讲到，在这解决什么的，再不出去个嘛，这规章那没形容了，有啊这创造了嘛，都他们这俺美国去跑的过噻，是没钱不跑，这是看他们当着去，真的。 但反正他说俺这里头在一起，那把个动的，是动的，这娘穷他说可以的，这没办法，说可以偏空的，中着空这些是对吧？偏弄起个这种我再把出去规章没行了。
Again, Chicken Sumgun said, for example, when powerful, his kingly spirits, the Gyalpo spirits, which are very powerful spirits, and so when these powerful spirits and other humans and non-humans, such as like local spirits and so forth, create obstacles, if one generates immeasurable love and compassion toward them, and then blesses them with bodhicitta, then their harmful intentions will naturally dissolve, and you will be able to bring benefit and happiness to them. And as a result, they become your friends, your allies, and even protectors of the Dharma. However, he says that if you try to repel them instead with anger, using wrathful substances and wrathful mantras, then because demons arise from the mind itself, then this mind to mind connection intensifies, meaning that by attacking them with these wrathful substances, their anger only grows stronger, and then through that their power actually increases, and they create even greater obstacles. Also, Ruben just remembered when in the old days when he stayed in Tibet in Tana Monastery, his home monastery, there was this young girl who was unwell. She was sick, and so Ruben accompanied some monks there in the evening, one to pray for her. There was this mantrika who had a huge text, a book, and he sat next to the girl, and they did their recitations to pray for her. And so he had this large volume of book, and so he said like, may the Buddha grant you refuge, and the Dharma grant you refuge. And every time he said that, he would like hit her on the head with this huge book, would strike her on the head. And that poor girl, she was yeah, kind of. I guess better the job to do. And so after that, so he kept hitting her on the head with this book. And so then later she said that she was getting better, just that she really had a headache. So her head really hurt because he kept hitting her over the head, obviously. So also regarding that, Pater Rinpoche said in the Words of My Perfect Teacher, so when we practice Chod or for others, sometimes people come very fierce. They try to look really wrathful. They come with bulging eyes, pretending to be really powerful, and then they like strike people like this lama, for example, with their books, and they shout mantras and so on, and so then maybe he said that maybe some humble ghosts will run away from that, but the real ones, the big ones, they won't go anywhere when they see that. Then we come to the main part of the practice. So in my text, it's on page 4. So it starts with the mantra, Svabhava Shuddha Sarvadharma Svabhava Shuddhahang. And so the meaning of that mantra is, all phenomena are pure by nature. I am pure by nature. And so here we should recognize that all phenomena are pure by nature, meaning that nothing possesses this true existence as me or mine. There's no self that has ever existed from the very beginning. And the next is it has a text pet. So the pet, the meaning for the pet is explained by Milarepa, and Milarepa said the outer pet is gathering scattered thoughts. Gathering scattered thoughts is the outer pet. And so that is when thoughts are scattered. There's many thoughts. You collect those thoughts, and you bring the mind back. That's the outer pet. And then he said that awakening dull awareness is the inner pet. So that is when the mind gets kind of dull, sluggish, then using a pet can clarify, make the mind clear. And then he said, resting in the natural state is the ultimate pet. So when thoughts arise and you then say a forceful pet, then that severs the thought and you return to remaining in the natural state of the mind. And then Milarepa concludes with, is there a yogi who holds these three pets and can proclaim them?
다 피인데 이게 자포인다 스코쇼사라 체파르젠스 이게 체파르젠스 시고레스 티피 이제 잔데 토바 잠지 와 피크 잔데 토 손나선 메마이 저저 제당서고 저소라 두파젠스 뭐 두파젠스 제당서고노 와 저소라 독생말 나한테 독생 침보랑한테 팅한테 뭐 마시토 그레스 지 신노 야 뇌판정 요레스 이겐데 피세리아데
So then for the power of the pet. So the pet is an especially powerful syllable. It is that merely hearing the sound of pet can pacify the angry minds of malevolent spirits. So it overwhelms them and calms their anger. And so it is a powerful syllable that is capable of subduing anger just through uttering it.
전에 다 피있어야 미파도 로마진디 랑시 피제 쇼침보데 요나 근데 냠 총총도 성하냐 개로스 그래서 딩바서라 돈다면 페이쇼침보데 자가지 이제 총총도 얘기
And so then, however, so because it's so powerful, the pet, when it is pronounced very forcefully, it can also actually shatter the hearts of the minor demons. So these are those like little demons. So we should feel for those poor little demons. So if we say it like randomly, then we just shatter their hearts because they're so small and poor. Like just a pet could just shatter their hearts. Then that's really negative karma on our part.
근데 피 자고 돈 메반만다 스타 돈만다 메리 피 자고 쇼침보데 라브죠 말레세
So that is why we should not say a powerful pet just randomly or meaninglessly.
근데 피 자고 在쇼침보데 자사세 뒤제 담나 돈 강이나 누바 메레사 라안도스 라안디비 동미 피 제죠 말레스 망보사
Is that then if 108 powerful pets are sounded at once, then actually, so like one after the other, then any demon, no matter how strong, can be destroyed. And again, that's why it should not be used carelessly.
전에 다 피 있어야 돼. 맞아요. 라브롱스 정도. 피 있어야 돼. 내 초록 내는 내 초록 당 총대 내 초록. 파지나 다 그래서나 8월 침배 통다 하고 그래서 자기는 상하나 남이비. 통화 다 티니 못 소리. 동아 송시 TV 그냥래서 대 거기에서 피 있어야.
Now then, Mati Lapton also explains the meaning of pet. And so pet, first of all, consists of actually two syllables, the pa and the ta, so pa and ta. So she explains that in my Dharma system, pa refers to paramita or perfection, which is according to the sutra path. And then pa refers to the unsurpassed secret mantra. And therefore, Tat is the essence of the sutras and the tantras.
전에 왔다 너르드나 피스리아테 다 연태 망보제 요래 정도 연태 망보제 요래 스탠드 피조 바잠 다 카리고르잖아 나 당지 고트 마지 스캄토비아 누파 냠토비아 어제치 랑니 돈 누파서 셰토바 센주시 용그레스 나 당지 마 지고 뺨누나 치킨에 돈 라소트 바시 랑지 셰토비아 센주 용그레스
So then, so merely saying the syllable pet has many infinite qualities, but mainly it is that by saying by simply saying pet, one can cut through the inner self-grasping and pacify any outer disease or demon. And so through uttering pet, one can also understand really through that, through cutting to that, as a result, one can understand, get an understanding of the real nature of things.
that's in that going around so the peak serious Luke Namshin on the Bariana or Rota. What in Namshin, but if that uncle Lu Nantu, Zaoma, say Bachakism, Bachas and then to Gubum Chin and Ricosari. What in Bachazam, Yanet Samo so there, Mane de was so there. What in Yankat and Nampi sang over your race in Kakala Marvanda Chabazi, Lando, or in Ruchinada, or in Ricochi, or in the
Yeah, correct.
단 조는 자리
okay.
나발 시베 뭐 제조 공간이나 제조 공간이 르라다 왕라 참마 진 남시 된 거레스 와 카게 클럽도 다시 주 생도 되는 만 같은 줄 남녀 좀 카게 그랑 세 손은 가르오나 진 남시 들어 봤대 근데 야 빠르 거랬으면 한테 진바당 하 세소 참마 진바당 데 신은 손은 소소소 손은 데 냐로 요사리 데 르냥 진바제 당하러 왔다 당나天地接触公间呢，流浪往他是点，你怕他们去点这多，这接触公间面呢，让车说那么开路那这口，他这就人家去的，这人家这个就提什么这里啊，他那边西边我提嘞，搞了嘛人当上的嘛这都，车马上个公安上，车马上现在的车先把公安这穷人车马上吧的，提公安上没有吧，他批就不提，提嘞几碗通的，几碗通送网上。
Ja, du penga diwa chitok. Ti itse so nam te tensa chamarava tini namshi nala ti shogo yorava tini namshi yapar gorava tini kain sena ti mena nga so ta che so nam chama shembala chimba dangara.
他最近吧，在当当在我做地上在有啥的，在咱娘们这样的。
Nyam
他
da.
这个嘛，他就懒到我做我好地的，你嘛我可以跟懒牛肉。
Also. So we then come to the third visualization where we first transport our consciousness upward and out of the body. And so for that, you first visualize your body, the central channel in your body. It has the width of about one of your fingers, and its upper end extends. It opens at the crown. There's this crown opening, and the lower end extends to just below the navel. And so then we are gathering so if one is a practitioner of the generation and completion stages, or if one practices deity yoga, then one should visualize the essence of the consciousness, of your consciousness at the heart, appearing as a white bindu drop with a reddish glow and the size of like a small bird egg, like I guess a sparrow's egg, is like a bit smaller than usual bird's egg. And so regarding that, no, also Drupa that he's heard back in Tibet that some say that you also think the reason after you do that is you think that this window of consciousness that is at the heart that also contains your life force and your merit and so on. And so before you offer your body, you want to make sure you take that kind of with you in the consciousness. You put that in, you have that in your consciousness, and then you transport the consciousness outside. Before you make the offering of the body, it's just because you don't want to totally lose your life force. So you want to retain your life force, and so then you what is it? Yeah, so until here. Okay.
他在
So
他通嘛，他在让那些让人一起都见那叫嘛，很多别想当，他让人一起都见那叫嘛，今天当强路工作强层用是做把说实在才你多特的，我的才你不得可能真的让人怕的都见泡沫，谢谢家你工作嘛不，结果见我们这周了，他头看嘛，人也不见，日别见下啊。 Then Tono Napchisa, that Chai to go the Yon Tota, Tatan Bochi, rather than the Lojo Naso and Jade, Tansu, some Shabi, Gomionja, Kata Tendrita, Gombush. No, they knew someone young take me in
Can you just joke that some you can
the Doje Pomo. She Chani, Gundo Marbo, Gundo Marbo, Jibon, Jibon Romachi, Jianzon, then Ucha so draw the Lachi, Toba Gambo Nga, Giant Charo Yon Soba, the Watson Hindu, Nga, the Ringe Ujamba, then Rube Jancha Nga, Children Nga or Rujanga, the Tolong Achu Tosha, Chai to go Yon Tocha,
just go take this joke that some correct. Yeah, try.
Chai to go Roa, Yomba Tocha, take a Tomo Kadam Kayole. Tarchang da Rabin Zed, Tarchang the Wajalti, Tarchang Ji, Loju Nasuzam. The good is this part J there. Sharp e Gom Yongjang the show the she. What in do to some or Ray or Tansi, such as Pong the Jancharo to say what.
Then comes the visualization of Vajrayogini. So your consciousness goes out of the body, and so then in front of you, and you transform. So this consciousness then transforms into Vajrayogini, and so then you visualize the form yourself, this consciousness in the form of Vajrayogini. So Vajrayogini appears in red body color. She has one face and two hands, 3 eyes. She's naked. Her hair is flowing down. She is adorned with the 5 a crown ornament of 5 dry skulls, and then the 5 bone ornaments. And in her right hand, she holds a curved knife, and in the left hand, a skull cup filled with blood. And then at the kind of a crook of kind of her shoulder, the crook of her arms, she leans a Katbanga staff, and she appears as a 16-year-old youth, so very youthful, and she is vibrant, and her left the left leg is also she has silicon ribbons, and then her left leg is bent, and the right leg is extended.
That's in the round of the gom the rank request that Doripam Gomura, or the Renejo Magom that he can do to Randu Hembos, that Randu Hembot, that Hardy or Rangas report. So he nomen Dobe Yuntangas, that's so he nomen Dobe Yuntangas, that Randu Hembos, Santa woke me but the Pembola, Gibor, that to Rome was question that Giborchi, so he nomlas, that's saying what the so he noms and so gores. So what did you say? No more go sure. Tom Tondare, shot and dog and boys, I wish I mean, there's some women charge of Sarva. Then you say, do young art on the end. Or that tends to go to Sarva. Or that check it, down, Siji ended. Say, cargo and Hana Kando Yuba. Che Chung Chin on Chung Zing, also Lupo Jibo and Jemon Sato Gumarwa. The Mambo the Chujin Chidoya Marathi and Zambalin Candidas, Che Chung. 我听着最大旅行，我听着这种情报是有吧，听着怎么讲的，我们说啥的哇
？Then you have visualized the consciousness as Vajrayogini, and then in front then lies your dead body, the corpse, and think of it as very radiant and fresh and endowed with all good qualities. So don't think of it of some kind of ordinary corpse that generally is very like kind of lifeless and ugly and actually a bit scary, but something that's see it as something that is really gradient and possesses perfect qualities. And also it is vast. So if you think of it as just a small body, then many spirits couldn't eat the small body. So think instead that it it fills up all of space. So many countless beings can be satisfied by it.
tene ta due to peace, then due to lume jinkorolane be gane tobe jibu zomtene things. Tan due to long me tan du long the make jinkor. Long jinkor ta nga so ni du yune chin ta yam te yora long jinkor ne ta yam le long jinkor la gora yam ten long jinkor ta chi. Long jinkor ta zen da gam da se la gora yep no sin da gam da. Chod ni hwa den chod ni hwa den dong je yu ba chi. Jie ka dong che ka te rang so den de la ta te chi de sa. 我提等于的龙经过让没经过是让没经过一个让钱的没经过的，这刚嘞托把中，他特别基本中走过去了吧？我这是特别基本中走过去呀，
Then next is a pet, and so then after that, you think that so before you then there is also under the corpse then there appears first a wind and fire mandalas. So first from Kam arises a tripod of three skulls. From Yam arises a wind mandala. And so the Yam, the wind mandala has like a half circle shape, and also it is adorned with two silicon banners fluttering on each side of this half circle wind mandala. And then there is above that from Ram comes a fire mandala, and then from Kam appears, then on top of that, then appears the tripod, a tripod made of three skulls.
我在那批上了，那在那宵夜去着他们就拖把这，去看那么东松那么跟熊中多的呢，他让他在跑让谁把他跑么子有了，他掐一呗，这个他弄不吧，我这弄不有吧，这拖把这把咱们就把记呢，我在那特别记不，他是搞把了拖几种苗推荐他搞把了这掐呢，这去搞了，马上拿马吧，东松那么看他娘的嘞，穷他娘的，他家钱不有吧。
And then next is pet, and then with I think that with Vajrayogini, which is your own awareness in space, and then with her curved knife in the right hand, she then, or your awareness, she then slices open the corpse's skull, so it chops off the corpse's skull. And then upon being touched by that knife, that skull then comes to rest on that tripod, on the hearth of tripod. And then visualize this skull cup as white on the outside and red on the inside, and as vast as the billionfold universe.
真的，俺啤酒，天南他们叫龙油面吧，那你从浙江都是买不着那么多。我天南他汉堡，但是他汉堡sen så lupo det var det lupo till gabba det sina mar jo. Det ni从吃麻将，他吃麻将都是买不着种多。他家吃过去做，特别难地汉堡吃麻着。这我了呀，龙子我龙子有了，这发电的你有，这大那这龙子呀的手接的，ram till呀没办法。 Det tobe nalne da hem bot ma shune ma da ach ma tam ji par bove chu che son de jong tam che de da jong tam si ta che de ze khala wa de ce temps de yang te ma da ba ze zo huan zhong ta zhi mi ba yang te zang ma yu ba ta da tam ze ke de wa ze kan do ma se wa chen zhu zhou de kan song zang wa da tam ze ke de ce lin duo
Again, pet, and now with that, your corpse is then lifted and tossed into this skull bowl, and then next from below the yam, the wind mandala, the wind stirs, and the two banners flutter, and then that ignites the ram fire. So then the fire blazes, and it begins to the wind then fans the fire, and the fire then heats up the skull cup, inside of which is your corpse. and then that melts the body, the flesh, and then as it all melts, all impurities, all defilements, everything impure then overflows in a form of bubbles, just bubbles over, overflows from the boiling substance, and then then what remains is a nectar like a substance that is red in color and referred to as the samaya nectar.
我真的，他这里问出一些多次尝试，他早晚吧，早晚在那可能做动作呀的。这里问出一些多次尝，你们这边搞了蛮当的，是我的你是没办这的，搞了蛮，他们这多次一些多次听，老学生的话，真的他们这多次这里，他我是要搞问出来是，等出的确实电话里吧，上节强调什么的了，他说他们这突久了，又被一些多次所见长呢，特别难，他们这多次长，你是没办这样送咱们呢。上面一些都是这搞了嘛人当下把咱们的是。
And so then in Sanna, then it says, so after the corpse is melted, then from the Amrita and the skull cup, light emanates and spreads in all directions. So then from this Samaya nectar, and white light radiates, emanates in all directions, and it reaches the hearts of all the Buddhas in the 10 directions. And these are then like the wisdom, it invokes the wisdom of those Buddhas, which is then drawn back in the form of white nectar, which then flows back, and this nectar then dissolves, inseparable with the samaya nectar in the skull, and in this way transforming it into pure wisdom nectar that is now white with a reddish glow.
我等杂红八红，我们二红先多的，杂些那这推的这让他在让是块这都是方面有了，这当的他们这个就是在有了进一步的话，我在讲述的出呢，他基本上呢，这个对我也不够上头的，其他这我们搞不马不红红不那把有把它减长，红色的杂红的话它杂红色的红色的这种不可以去，他这有话他们这个就是。天，他们这都是天，或者呢，这去下巴的，也没把掐上，对的，也没把去这些送呢，也一般车都要有嘛，天着往这掐上是，或者这里的让他们的家乡过去吧，或者呢，他们这都是，这妈的一些都是，或者一些都是搞了嘛的当掐吧，就是我吧有啊，他看到吃肉，你怕怎么不送做吧有吧，我听就这么然后呢，看到你怕吃肉不送做吧有吧，是就这么当不来是。
Next are the syllables Zahong Bamho in the text, Zahong Bamho Omahong. And so so then so Za, so first with Za, we think that light rays in the form of hooks emanate from your heart, meaning your heart as Vajrayogini, the awareness in space. So the hooks emanate from Vajrayogini's heart, and also from the Samaya nectar. And these light rays in the form of hooks then invoke the blessings of body, speech, and mind of all the Buddhas in the form of white Om, red A, and blue Hung. And then with Hung, here the Cha Hung, so that the second syllable here, the Cha Hung, the Hung, then that with Hung, the 3 syllables, this Omahung, dissolve into the Samaya nectar. Then Bam, with Bam, they mix into one, just like water poured into water. And with Home, then these blessings are sealed and having become inseparable. So it has become like sealed as a blissful nectar. And then so then in the end, the wisdom nectar at this point then is white with a reddish glow, and we should see it as just perfect in all qualities, perfect in glow, in color, and in excellent and perfectly endowed nectar.
真的，他的话，他那里嘛，他几家，就当我做干季了，我说干季啥的话，他怎么呢？今天从古啥出产的干季，干季、满季，现在就开始产季，现在那么多。他干季，干季啥的，今天从古啥出产的做，我马前那种这种了，你们呢干季、满季的，金巴家也团团没是啊，你们呢干季、满季的，金巴家拉有是他拉真这个金巴家也多的没意思。总有了。
Also, as a side note, so this part of Chichen Songkran's Kusali Church is referred to as a white feast. So we often speak about three kinds of feast. There's the white feast, there's the red feast, and then there's the kind of mixed or variegated feast. And so this particular one, the Kusali Church, has an emphasis on the white feast. And Martin Lobdon had said that the white, the red, and the variegated feasts are superior to all other forms of generosity. Then they are better than 100 kinds of other generosity.
真的，俺这次没来录的，这次没来，谈把上街了这有个。真的这次没来的话，的看着农田的，大家谈把上街有许多。前两天见着就明白在哪啥了。这这次没来，大家在怕送到谈把上街在哪有农田穷啥的。他那么个在如果开始偷啥，如果开始在偷的。如果就是这次没来的，谈把上街同样都会在吃药啥的。这样托马从大公中行的，听阿啥的，我告诉年都是阿啥的，大家还没得是啥了，在年都是哪啥的。这就是们他谈把上街啥的，什么的怕送啥，这谈把上街要永久啥的哇。这就是们要谈把上街在我些上面我些中在有啥，对吧？那么是大个头上，就是们了，没错是就是真的兄弟有啥哇。没错，这属于兄弟，谈把上街看嘛的，你多是多少？他这我些上面的，这我些他有的脾气上嘛的上，就是么的上，谈把上街南上所看过的，他个，就么那这旁边头就看起的我就。看着少年过就是长马浪的，看着就村上从过看着就是从过打工啊，做啥意思？他就现在顶住看着我的，这只有啥了？
Is Padang
就现在他顶住，这只有啥？这就是没来，他顶住忙不就有人过浪啥的。这浪的他就也光都是，他后来就把就我们过来，去浪几个人都是那是就我们过来的。
Isangye kono tsok kola khala song. Padang Basangye tini bila repa kunta mushi usa mare samna tini Padang Basangye khala song.
怕谈把上街，但主要是吧，
啊
主要从对他们那边，我些有啥嘛的上是吧？
啊
这咱们上所看过，那这没错讲了，刚被老用家说，
哦
老用
哦
就没那这怕开始前没错对的意思真的没错对的意思，就让看着中年在中国的金巴郎是当马子说，但是中年是当马子中国人呢，老公把我看着上嘛，从火锅从生活做啥意思，就让他先定数看着我是，这国人才这没那这边，但他定数全部有在，但这嘛不是怕中虚了。
So there's a story of Pamela Reba of his meeting with Padang Basangye. And so how it happened is that first Milarepa received a prophecy from a Dakini who said, so there is this master Padang Basangye. You should go and meet him. Won't you go and meet him? So Milarepa followed that prophecy, and so he went to find this Siddha Padang Basangye, and so he was looking for him. So on the road he met some other travelers, and he asked them, where is Padang Basangye? And they said, we don't know Padang Basangye, but there is this, I call him this Atsara, which is an Indian person who sleeps in that inn, that kind of guest house there. And so Milarepa thought that maybe that must be him. So Milarepa went there, but then he also thought to himself, well, I've heard that Padang Pasangye, he had his unobstructed clairvoyant powers. So let me first test if he really has this power, if that's really him. So to test him, Milarepa then he transformed himself into a flower. And so then he was this little flower, and Padamba Sangye just passed by that flower, and seemingly not just seeing it as a normal flower. And then Milarepa, the little flower Milarepa, then thought, oh, he's probably not clairvoyant after all. He just didn't know I'm the flower. And the moment he thought that, Padamba Sangye turned around and he stepped on that flower. And he said, what's wrong with you? Why do you emanate as a flower? Why do you turn yourself into a flower? Why didn't you just come directly? And so then, if you had come, then last night, when we already had a feast offering with the Dakinis, but too bad you missed it. We already ate all the feast. And then he asked him, so in any ways, what is your assurance at the time of death? And so then Milarepa, he sang his song of realization, his song of assurance.
근데 저 지금 말하래베 단 내년이 단냠 좀레스 내년이 냠 좀도 송코스코는 야봉사 말레스 대야 담바상제서 송어서와 대 담바상제 주홀 되냐레스 가 자간 좀보레스 대리 송코고리아서 천안 하레스 대리 송어서와
Then after that, Milarepa said, so since us two yogis are coming together now, have now met, we should perform a feast offering together, a Soka offering together. And then Padamba Sangye said that, well, you are from here and I'm a guest coming from India, so you should really be the one making the offering.
근데 야 저 지금 말에 그 까발에 소가네 디나다 코나 글루스 쪽이나 나제나 대신 또 뭐매 파르디 살때 야제 도스노데 다 송콜콜도
It kapal nang lakhare loksong.
다 코나 글루스로 오지라 글루 프로세스
Oh, kurang kogi puli. Oh,
얘는 다 송콜을 때 도스는 거 또 담바상제 그 지사 말에 그 거나 제 제인도 그 거사 주디 때 송콜 말라레 베키테 대초 관삼지 담바상제 장마제 강쇼 그 제크 그 주디 다티 서로데 말라 레베케 관삼 demjo goma xian tsama xi la so ba de zhu ne de kun ni cong huo guo luo xiang de接下来的谈判上界讲嘛是要咋的的什么那边讲嘛是这的是口的这么那边可是中是当然你现在帮助用的7、8米半钟的是跟讲嘛嘛苦呀看的虽然讲嘛要的呀可是的但后这个人是下赛个嘛的是我们都是下赛的这的是热是中热住在那么多
Ikare kiba yore shakyam.
제가 특수히 막 샤사 교사 봐. 그다 후 나는 게 막 샤사도 교사 봐. 샤바디 사제면 아니 방토에 제발면 오스.
Oh.
내 본이 총고로 사.
The Milarepa did it kare demchogi hlagi tini kare gochang kare gochang ge tini chama she tini Padamba Sangye kare drusong.
근데 그 제거 스트리노 한탕에 청가를 하고 있어야지. 제거 스트리. 근데 그 파좀 이제 다 문이 있어서 배제 생각을 때 건지 총고.
And so then so that they had their feast offerings, and Milarepa then agreed. They had their feast offering, and so Milarepa then was the one offering it. So he performed this kind of miracle of offering his own body. So he took his kapala, put his body in there, and so first, and then through the tumo fire, he caused the fire to blaze, which caused the substance to melt into nectar, which then became their Soga offering, their feast offering. And then and then also they Padamba Sangye and Milarepa then also emanated feast guests like the Jaga Sambara eight gatekeepers, and then Padamba Sangye also manifested a certain number of deities. So they had all these guests coming here. And then in the end, so they enjoyed their feast. And Padamba Sangye then said, so in general, so he was quite impressed with Milarepa's quality. So he said, there is no difference in quality and realization between us. The only difference there might be is that in India we are generally vegetarian. So in Tibet, actually, there's people more likely to eat meat, but in India, people don't really eat so much meat. So he said that that may be the only difference. And so then they ate their feast together with all the many guests that they had generated.
근데 당연히 방토연의 제파면도 스테는 지랑라 나 고야면도 나라 지랑 고야면도 스테 참바상진 로야 지가서로 말아베 지랑 탐조도 나 시지 세제요서 등하 나로치스 대슈 고샤데 고르칸 마나도 근데 셀란서도 근데 제가 마음 방아라니 볼줍주텔라 따로 찍관다 따와는 찍관 용사레스 참바상진 대종도
So then Banaba Sangha said that there's no difference between our qualities, or our realization is the same. And so therefore, I don't really need you and you don't really need me. And so with that, they separated ways. But before that, Milarepa did say, but please give me there's this Chod Shije instructions, the pacifying suffering. And so he requested to give these teachings. Then Padam Pasangya sang this song, the teaching in the form of a song. And then he also said that in the future, our lineage of disciples, the disciples will hold the same view.
근데 다늘에 마동선으로 와다다 피지리 근데 당니 차가 토베도 쓰주스 녀베네 그도르베 오미신 와다 당니 선 도지 라한테 도지 봉세 요라테 남시 와디 차테레 토베도 쓰주네 와테네 녀네 군나 도르베 오미신 스타 네트 파장야 녀베 네트 파장 자야 서와 그래서는 다 가지한테 전화데 방문 방문 초대 이层面기타 됐어 네 나타 제면 자 믹스 세월라 마 자신 방문고 방문 초네 대년 내구나 나도 스토리로 잠난데 그런로 어디 당니 차게 토베 됐지 다 주로 와서 주네 년 내군도네 녀베 신강 녀베 규유테 참지다 시당 넘버 타봐 메롱다 비시 라지 저송자다 샤초 응버가 베신강我曾追求从咱们大怎么当过去是吧？
And then next, again, a pit. And then it says so on page 6, it is my text, with the skull in your hands, you scoop out the Amrita. Sorry, on page before, and then the hell beings. Now it is sprinkled over the hell world, transforming it into the Buddha land Ogmin. So it's yourself visualized as Vajrayogini, and with the skull cup, you scoop some of that nectar and scatter it on all the hell realms, and then this blesses the hell realms and transforms then the hell realm into a pure land. And so here it seems to be just referring to the one Vajrayogini. There's some other texts that speak about many forms of Vajrayogini emanating. So in other practice, there's a text that says that from the heart of yourself as Vajrayogini, many other Vajrayoginis emanate, and then they make this offering. But so here, that's not very clear in this text. So it seems there's just one Vajrayogini. And so imagine that all the places of hell are sprinkled with nectar, and then they're instantly transformed into the pure land of manifest joy, and hatred becomes purified and manifests as the mirror-like wisdom.
근데 다 여러분 네트 파장. 근데 여러분 다 심천서도 장야 서봐. 양 페이지 도치 레베 여러분은 제바 좀 장지 수마를 거쳐 송도. 어디 잡아들어. 담아 보셔.
So then, so this first section was purifying the place of the hell, and then the next is purifying the beings of the hell. So when it says again by the touch of Amrita, so first the place is purified, second the beings in the hell are purified, and so then you sprinkle the nectar on the hell realms again, and it pacifies their suffering of being tormented by executioners, afflicted by anger and burning, freezing and crushing and so on. So then the beings are being purified.
我真的咋的样都是他特别居多了吧？咱家那滚都对，咱家外去那都对，家外去他连看三家吧，连看连年有了，什么讲这那就当年连看了为了噻，我这当家吧，他来过的亚看那就当时什么钱就有了，我的什么钱他妈的咱牛梦吧，斜当的穷位，这车长车位家吧，长位那说他，说我这家吧，这斜当的下手车了吧，我这六体是他当。但是没去查呢，这个样子的，他假设是呢，这个样有了很重的，他都不得了重的，龙啊，甚至给些错呢，这龙啊，一种怕这把他呢，真的就是都真的要嘛，确送上，哇，他甚至去过就是了嘛。
So as the nectar is sprinkled on the hell beings again, so it pacifies their suffering of being tormented by these henchmen of hell, and it pacifies the hatred in their own minds, which in the first place causes hell. So it is hatred or anger causes the heat and the cold experience of the hell realms. So that is pacified, and thereby the sufferings of being burned and frozen and cut up and so on all become pacified. And then their three obscurations of body, speech, and mind become purified, and all these hell beings, they transform into Vajrayogini.
真的样配打配就了，配多配上面讲配有的天当你吃特别多次的，多次的就呢，一大那口多了，我们现在一大那的，这怕多呢，我们现一大差不多那的多，那的怕讲呀，真的一大那的多了，是他牛毛把生那点的，他一大是解决了下，他也对生那去那把生那这把把那把他呢他他年纪一些，两把年纪一些桥呢。让你瞧呢，他把呢落小把的点被先看出去送上，我听出这么当我说啥了吧？
Then again, pet, and now we come to the hungry ghosts. And again, first we purify the place, the hungry ghost realm. So again, as Vajrayogini with the skull club in your hand, you scoop the wisdom nectar and scatter it across the hungry ghost realms. And that then transforms the land itself into the pure land of Akarnishta. And then it purifies greed, which is the main cause of birth as a hungry ghost. And then having or greed and stinginess, and having purified that affliction into the wisdom of equanimity, then that land, that place turns into the glorious pure land.
我真的样配件的就呢，都是这边一大呢，这把怎么讲就去买过去，是在马路上呢。
And again, pet, and again, you sprinkle the nectar on the hungry ghost again, and this time it pacifies their individual suffering, their sufferings of from external obscurations, internal obscurations, and hunger and thirst. And the three obscurations of body, speech, and mind are purified, and they all transform into Vajrayogini.
真的。我这到哪里样子都对称的一大七十八件，哪十八件有了，他七十八件是这三万的这样通呢，在每通的把每民族呀是这用多，我都是七十八件是，哪十八件是在啥呢？他哪里没抢着呀？我没块蛮着的呀，我这刚给忙不多，他说哪这半件事，我这对称的这空，大东啊在哪吧？这空他东啊那学了，我这说哪吧在三几期呢？那真的这把怕。som på det lunga som kan jobba som till lunga jobba som är jobba som sen till vad det inte nås nymo jobba shije jobba hocha jobba så och det som på det andra det så där nymo det där lunga är så bara jobba som till nymo hocha shije jobba så på det andra det det med går så som det så då det jobb med simjan tamji det är där simjan tamji det då det jobb med går så som och det som då var så så
So by sprinkling the nectar on the hungry ghost again, so it liberates them from these external obscurations. For example, that is certain obscurations where they have no external like access to food. They have, like they're physically unable to consume food. It's unreachable for them, like physically. Then there's the inner obscurations, and that is even if it reaches them, for example, it turns into a ball of fire once it's in their belly and so on. These are inner obscurations. And then there's the general obscurations or the suffering, the torment of hunger and thirst. And then those three obscurations, so then the three obscurations are purified, and these are actually not body, speech, and mind, but they are the karmic obscurations, the obscurations, sorry, the obscurations of afflictive emotions, the subtle obscurations to omniscience or the cognitive obscurations, and then the obscurations of the karmic imprints. So these become purified, and purifying them, then all the hungry ghosts themselves become Vajrayogini.
真的养皮节就别皮节就别这特别多次的，就那通州那块多了，我们现在通州那très多，这多少呢？
And then again, saying pet, again with the skull cup in your hand is Vajrayogini. Scoop the nectar and now scatter it on the animal rams and transforms it into a pure land.
真的，他这期真的这些他确实去那个，多呢，他就通州去那个，这多的真的点木难把他吧，点木难把他呗，点木难把他吧，全一些，我这全一些让你都不过不心看，这确实咱一大那子，他妈的通州去那了吧，通州去那次都不过不心看，确实咱。
So then with that, the place of the animals becomes purified, and uh, along with that, their ignorance, the ignorance of animals becomes purified, and that turns then into the Dharma Dhatu wisdom, and then transforming it into the wisdom, the land of the animals becomes the densely arrayed pure land.
真的，俺皮养的都是这边村州呢，这把怎么讲起去马儿过去是哪多，他妈老少。
And then again, you sprinkle nectar over the animal realms, and it pacifies all their sufferings of living in dullness and ignorance, stupidity and ignorance. And again, there are three obscure purified, and they transform into Vajrayogini.
真的，我在村州这啦，这都是村州这啦，这有的是，前一年那把的，看错那把是你有啥吧？他前一年那把是那个做减速囊那的，在拉票啥减速囊，咱是减忙不修有的拉不了这，前一年那把看错是那个做他的，没有那是村州有吧？我这说在村州也是，但那口是呢，他那把呢，我把村州这边那口才修是，那把人抽囊，这都别那口东岸边有的是。 我在东岸有对在东岸这些呢，他这把种他的学员吧，我在讲呢，真的就最多今年就美国去送什么，他几块钱我这。看到哎，你呢？你呢？啊，看不到我做，这个啊的，哦，
Sorry, Drogon.ยังsomeone now?
看马上他看呀。
Kind of, I'm sorry.
啊，
Parang kung saan nga kain sa nati amchun niya ti tong pa siya so.
呢，
嗯
我呀，他村州是吧？村州，
Yeah.
看多少的钱的，那一把。
Uh-huh.
다들 돈로 내고도 하나 돈로 다 체인 내 봐서 내다리 다 이바 점수 내대시 칸토 내될 때 당가 좀 유니 해요 봐듯이 어쨌든 돈로도 배동아요 사람 랭코 그동아스다 고 동아 치슈제 인사다 돈로 꼭 스네코 시에서 요 말하고로 노바를 투나 어쨌든 루티 동아서 봐시네 대지주 레바존도 장 지주 도전에 좀 있고 저 송송상 돈로 좀
Yeah, so we sprinkle the nectar on the animals again, and then their suffering becomes purified. And so on all the animals on a different kind of planes of existence, some live in the waters, in the oceans, and some live on the surface of the earth. And animals suffer actually greatly. And it is said that actually of the 6 realms of samsara, it's the worst place, worst realm to be born in is the animal realm. And so now we think that we have purified their sufferings and their 3 obscurations, and they become Vajrayogini.
전에 다 그래서는 당연히 차게 토베 되지도 매일 니그도르 오미 셴 세와다 되지 도셔나
So next comes the human beings. And so now you think that cup in your hand as Vajrayogini, you scoop the nectar and scatter it on the human realm, transforming the human realm into a pure land.
전에 다른 미 대도는 단 도차 넘버다 미 도차 넘버 타봐 미신 감자다 문에 되어라데 무게 대지야 주선 도차 사람 영몽선 도차 지네 도차 넘버 타네 소토 이게 기타 신감로 높여 대화전 신감 소토 이게 그런 일단 높여 대화전 신감 초송상도
But then having purified the attachment into individually discriminating wisdom, the human world becomes the Western Pure Land of Sukhavati. So the main cause of birth as a human is desire or attachment. So when that becomes purified, then the realm of the humans becomes a Pure Land of Sukhavati or Devachan.
전에 다 양 피제 도베 도스 드라이버 만남 치 드바 좀자 지수 메고 지어 스다 세린도 테마로쇼
So then next, again with Pet, you sprinkle the nectar over the human realms again. And now the 3 obscurations of the human beings are purified and they all transform into Vajrayogini.
다 말라 동아 다 마보요 사람네 마보스티 말란 두지 키 동아서 체반 두지 동아라브라 체반 두지 동아서 체반 두지 동아도 선자 상마로요 사르와 어때도 동아르 나다 동아제 요피 동아르시 조르베 동아르세 어떤 제르베 동아 센타제 엔조로야 동아르와 배장마로 집어온 치료주야 동아 어떤 조르베 동아르스 제베 제바 게바 나와 치바 와다 제가 난치서 말아레베 제가 난치 추워시 제가 많이 군요 와다 제가 난치서 참말이 요르시 전화지 볼 말이 참말이 요르시 데르스 세면스 전화지 볼 말이 정도 와세 동아시 와티 간다 다루자 당원 치베 동아라 때냐 도화 참바다 치베 동아라 와다 요반 초중메 도베 동아라 미바 제지미티 동아시 와트르 요레 스타디 슈퍼남레 여도레 우포남레 메도레 스마라레베 요미 탐지 동아르샤 그 탐주지나 지당지 스와타 탐주님네 지나 지당지 그래 스마라 와트 정도
So then the humans, regarding the human suffering, humans experience many kinds of sufferings. So there is first the 3 main kinds of sufferings. There's the suffering, the all-pervasive suffering, which is the suffering of conditioned existence that really every being experience. Everyone has this conditioned suffering of this conditioned existence. And then there's the suffering of suffering, which is suffering upon suffering. And then there's the suffering of change. For example, you might be happy in the morning, but then you suffer by night. And then as humans, we also experience the four sufferings of birth, aging, sickness, and death. And Milarepa said that these are the four sufferings that everyone experiences, not just you. You're not alone with that. Everyone has these sufferings. And then in addition to that, humans also suffer from the fear of meeting enemies or meeting that which you don't want to meet. And then the suffering of being separated from loved ones. And then the inability to keep what they have. And then that disappointment or the failure of not finding what they seek. So the disappointment of not getting what they want. And Milarepa also said that the rich suffer from being rich and the poor suffer from being poor. All beings suffer. Therefore, you should apply yourself to Dharma practice.
근데 단 door 되나다 네발엔 풍부 동아그 상지 레스 근데 풍부 같아. 근데 로폰 인양 송어선 저렇게 풍부 레제토 흐론나자 중매체 자장체도 흘라참 자 매예 동안 여러 신세와다 내가 배 틀라서요레스 내가 배 틀라서고 대대도 추는 거 봐. 포마산다 제 벤저티라메라 우풍당라고 그래 텐도 코쇼사 우풍당 텐도지 레지토 내가 마찬 때깔렌 카 참자 호롱제데 호롱 다 남상 키쇼 남상 키쇼 존용라 요냐 터르제요. 들이 참자 나야 차야 터르 용그레 스타리 용도 같은 가서 시시칼. 그래서 중매체에서 참자 나 사상 그 강에 터르 용그레 스나암스도 다 제니 몰래 칼레 하지 나 다 좋아 있나라 제메나 코란소 라 강에 터르 용그레 터 자탕 체도 그래서 참자 잔치 잠베 신나제고요. 소소 마갈 좀 tri용제서这回了恰是，然后拿不是恰，这恰的，这样车着就上去动啊。我这人对没动啊，要不那就是送的是，我这人对没了他动啊，就见着我这有的送多。
So in brief, the five aggregates are suffering by their very nature. And there's a quote by Vasubandhu. He said that busy and anxious, exhausted by work and burdened by debt, tormented by illness, harassed by spouses, fearing enemies, attached to children. The human suffering it resembles hell itself. The meaning of this quote is that we are busy and anxious, exhausted by work. So we rush around all day. We are overworked. We are exhausted every day, and then we are burdened by debt. So we take a loan, but then the lenders can't wait to take it back. So they want to get it back right away. So that's a burden. And then we get sick, and then our spouses give us maybe a hard time. We work all day, and then they give you troubles that you have to deal with, like troubles at home, and sometimes also there's this worry of meeting with an enemy, just feeling unsafe. And then there's the attachment to your children. You're always afraid something will happen to them or you will separate from them. And so he said that the human suffering is really like hell. So humans suffer from 11 kinds of sufferings. So.
mukta jega nan shila so dong al so ba chen ne ta de ba som ta la ma de ba som bote nyong de ba ha cha xie jie de ba ha cha de ba la so so ba chang ne de ji zui ma go chuo song zang.
So then all these sufferings of the humans, like birth, aging, sickness, and death, and so on, are purified, are pacified, and then the three obscurations are purified. So again, the three obscurations are the obscurations of the afflictive emotions, of karmic imprints, and the cognitive obscurations. They are purified, and then all humans transform into Vajrayogini.
다 제상 가서 다주 오늘 치네 가르나 상스기라가 이나 등고네 치네 가서 다진 제외 창첩심로 차사로 하르잖아. 랑클로보트 진바당 쇼리 我这几天的大些，这了点的时间把东西写图表，这就这么当呢，我这去学了，这大件这边强求先强啥了吧？
Mhm. Somebody may wonder now what this kind of chud practice of giving one's body away like that is, what that really is. And so it really is exchanging one's own suffering for the suffering of others, for giving oneself away to others. Or in other words, it is bodhicitta that puts others before the self.
어,
No, a mind that wants to alleviate the suffering of all beings. So,
나도 되게 와 저시 라는 동아리 말로 다된도 는 조배 상제 현편스는 대제 다대 현재 동아 다 양다지와 저시 라는 이 세계 요 같은 정도 쳐서 와대 저 나서 나랑 소이나 소소이나 제 당지스 마 답방도 마탐나 총 디스탄 동아 대 충거로 와 다 뭐 당지 제 소소손 집아 첨부 원래 저 동아 배치 그래 특가로 그래 공가 소제 다도지나 我听对的，那就那现在把做我的他说说个刘伯当时他把帮那金把当过去了，听对，先把他当时先把他提学了吧，当啥了？
the 37 Bodhisattva practices, it says, all suffering without exception comes from wishing for one's own happiness. The perfect Buddhas arise from the altruistic mind. Therefore, completely exchanging your own happiness for the suffering of others is the practice of the Bodhisattvas. So this is really what happens when we make this kind of offering here in the Chod practice. It is because we are giving up our self-grasping. And even if we're not able to totally give up self-grasping, at least we can reduce it, we can lessen it. And if we can lessen our self-grasping, we will also lessen our suffering. Because the more you grasp at a self, the more you cling to yourself, the more you also suffer. That's something we can always observe very directly. So here in the Chod practice, we are giving away our body because this is our greatest grasping. If we are able to give away our body and our fixation of being this body, if we are able to give this up, then we can naturally also give up all other forms of self-grasping.
真的好几趟了，就今年的时候，是吧？就今天解决了。他说这趟他当时落当时，就这次落着，这咱们这解决了。你嘛工作拉不了，拉不起来，就今年开始啊，前天着是吧？提前吃完开始开来送人这运动到现在再出去，啊，他就讲到的。
So that generally as a church practitioner, the point is that we are giving up self-grasping, and so, but then often also that's not exactly what we do. We don't we give it up. For example, there's Rupan just remembered back in Lapchi, there were some monks who were. Yeah, there were some monks who belonged to the Lapchi monastery there, and so they tried to like to play a trick on some of the true practitioners, and so at night they kind of pretended to be ghosts and tried to scare their fellow monks, and then the fellow monks they were so scared that they ran away.
因为我做朋友在那边，现在俺在那多开始呢，不么简单的有吧的，不么简单的是晓得，这脚把这给当儿子，脚把他在就要帮这学才就呢，晓得，这里没这得呀写着什么，但我做朋友接纳了个这个很有才冲突，要他这七八节目都让他没这得不着谁有啥，不可得呀写着什么，不着人啥的可头，晓得脚把他说就自己啦，可得可先刚做他话家的当。 真把我做把的话，这把面，这看把药嘛，我晓得的。把他话听那些吃老胖胖晓得然后，这就把它做就做送着，就把就做送的的。他那把这有那朋友那把这起就没钱，但可就做这晓得哇，晓得，他不给阿妈一把，他拿的这不给阿妈，晓得这不给把吃老就说小姑，这就说什么他把天啊啥那土老个。 then so song this songs I think that you was north is then 用东的什么东西 then 但是我想下去咱就我查说就我查说噻的我啷个晓得这有
你嘛追踪。
这有
There's this one story Ruben remembered from back home, his homeland. There was once this girl who was sick, and her family invited a well-known Chod practitioner to perform a ritual for her to heal her illness. And so during that time, people that were staying in those yak hair tents. So they were staying in this yak hair tent, the whole family, and the sick girl was there. And they also had other kids. There was one young boy there. And so the family was generally around the girl, but that little boy just couldn't sit still. He would just be running around the whole time. And so he just basically they kind of lost sight of him as the practitioner, the Chod practitioner would perform the rituals. And so while he started the rituals, what the boy, he had a little rope and a thread, a thin kind of a thin rope, and he attached he tied one side of that thread, that rope, to that Chod practitioner's robe. And then he took the other end outside of the tent, because it's a tent, it's easy to take it out underneath. And so then he was on the other side, outside of the tent, and he was pulling on the rope. And so that since the Chod practitioner was supposedly gathering the demons, and then somebody kept pulling on his rope, he started to get really scared. And he quickly tried to finish the ritual. So he just basically said, may you be blessed, and then he put the Dhamma on her head, and he just tried to get her out of there. And later the mother was looking for the boy, and then she found him there pulling on that rope.
다 된대는 사례 되네 that's a Mars on the Terry Lot and then Lamy Terwashing come down. Lamy said, that Lanny Chaka, Toby does juice, Lamy Gunador, omissions, what a Maloshana.
And then so we continue to the demigods. Again, Pet, with the skull cup in your hand, Vajrayogini, you scoop nectar and scatter it onto the demigod ram, transforming the ram into a pure land.
then that Lamy the Chando then Jesha, Chando number Taba, Charovish, Lamy come the Charovish Ranji Chonet, and let up, let up. She come to the one touch, as one Chancho, she come to Chas on some
And so the main cause of birth as a hungry spirit is jealousy. So then that jealousy becomes purified, and the demigod ram, the main cause of demigod ram is jealousy, and then jealousy becomes purified, and the demigod ram then turns into, or that the jealousy becomes the all-accomplishing wisdom, and their ram becomes the pure land of excellent activity.
then 다 양 PJ 저 배, 도스레 베키 함이 저바 좀 장지 취매 거쳐 so that the malosh.
And then again, sprinkling the nectar, and then their three obscurations are purified, and the demigods also transform into Vajrayogini.
then lama yeto 다 지탄 lama 예세데 동안 좀 되어서라 사케 롱추 좀 되요 사도 저 기본的有它同学上可能我这长多在东岸中在先辈弄的话去那有什么人我真的都想在东岸那学啥都他在上的写当时我他都想背后啥他长多钱呢真的都想在那东岸进不去我真的他的可能在小在他说去东岸在一起我这东岸说他们把钱呢这把种强呢接触美国说从咱们大城市上不多那么意思
And so the demigods mainly suffer from their jealousy. It's because they see how the gods can enjoy all their divine pleasures, while the demigods feel left out. So they feel it's unfair that the gods can enjoy all of these pleasures while they don't. And so they become very jealous and resentful and hateful against the gods. And with that rage, and they wage war against the gods and always fight. And so that becomes purified by sprinkling the nectar on them, and it purifies all the torment in our minds from jealousy, and their hostile minds and their suffering from conflict and warfare. And the three obscurations are purified and they become Vajra Yogini.
야, 단 다다더라 샤샤나트네 지견송 dedication 동 다치나 개조지 고쇼 살아와.
So then we stop here for this morning and do Jigten Sumgan dedication and continue later.
가세 쇼단 죽som래 가래. 피지 세디 하티. 아, this.
Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of yidams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, heroes and heroines, yogini and assembly of dakinis, dwelling in the 10 directions, please heed me. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all sentient beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, pride, and jealousy not arise within my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that may it become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. Even at death, may the torment of suffering not arise. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such, and in the pervasive clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, 새로 주소 이바라와 시카고 주소.
And then again in the afternoon at 2 p.m. Chicago time.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Everybody.
Thank you, Johanna. Thank you, Ina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Sun is very good today.
Do we know if we're starting an hour early compared to the schedule tomorrow as well?
I think tomorrow is the same time.
Yeah, it should
9
be
to
the
11:30.
same. What we've said is 9 to 11:30 for this Chod, for the Chod practice is 9 to 11:30.
Okay, because on the graphic that has the schedule, it says from 10.
It
Your
might
time.
be an old one. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Shared an old one. That's
Yeah,
fine.
there's a couple, but the time, yes, is 9 to 11:30
9 to 11:30.
today and tomorrow, and then 2 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
you very
so
much.
much. Glad the sound was better.
Yes.
Yes, sun is much better. Very good today. Thank you.
Good, good.
See you in a little while.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ana Sophia. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Ina.
Can I
Thank you, Rocco.
may I ask a
Exciting part.
question of you at some point? May I ask a question?
Sure.
Well, I'm a Dzogchen practitioner, and I'm not quite clear how I would practice Chod.
I'm not sure if we're going to have question and answer, but that's something we should definitely ask Jupanla.
Okay.
There are also different lineages of chip practice depending on the sadhana. It could be Mahamudra or Dzogchen lineage. If it's a Terma, a lot of times they're Kusali Chud. It's just you view and also you know, when you rest in the meditative state, you know, you would go into Rigpa, possible naked awareness, that kind of thing.
Okay, because it's quite complicated, and I know I don't remember all the details.
We'll ask Jupanla if he'll make time for a question and answer.
Yeah, it'd be very good.
Thank
Okay.
you. See you back at 2.
All right.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Karachi.